Welcome to Talk Dirt to Me, where two farmers shatter myths and take on the top issues facing America's farmers. Here's your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. It is, man. Oh, hey, I made us an intro for the video.
Oh, like a creepy, like...
No, I
like
should have.
Haunted or...
I should have done that, but no, just an intro video that we can put at the start of our YouTube videos.
Okay. Well, yeah, I need to get back into...
Well, and I haven't been dropping them to you. I got to try to piece together.
I refresh my
YouTube,
my Dropbox or whatever every morning. I'm like, nope, I don't have anything to upload.
No, I'll get you this episode because I've actually already got last week's edited.
Oh, for YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got to get the one, the hold up for everybody that's wondering. That's like, why is y'all's YouTube behind? The hold up is our episode we did with Steven.
Right.
And it's an editing nightmare.
Because the internet was lagging and
yeah, so
it's piecing together two different videos.
I'm thinking about, and I know this bums people out, but honestly, I'm thinking about probably just posting the audio and just putting up, like, because I think the video is going to be so bad.
Well, and I don't know, which y'all need to reach out to us and let us know. For those, because I know people would like to consume it on YouTube. Are you mainly just listening, or do you really enjoy seeing our beautiful faces?
Yeah. Yeah. Would you be? Well, I mean, honestly,
we've done a few like that because the audio or the video would mess up, so it would mainly just be the audio version on.
I know quite a few people that tell me they listen on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to do that, and you just won't get to see our faces.
And I do that with a couple of kind of reports and stuff I listen to, but YouTube they don't put it out on podcast platforms, so I play it through YouTube, like as I'm driving down the road. But I'm driving, I'm not watching it, I'm just listening. Yeah,
I do the same thing. So yeah, probably drop it in it, but yeah, it did make us look a little intro. I was like, it kind of makes us look a little more professional.
There we go. We are professionals.
We are a professional podcast. So guys, go and check out agzaga.com. Help us be even more professional and support our sponsor of the show. And you support us by doing so. Yeah,
check it out. It's officially Halloween. This episode will be dropping on November 1st. So, I mean, it's officially Christmas time, right?
Yeah. Y'all are getting a Halloween episode out of this one. So y'all are just going to consume it a little bit right after.
But not too early to be doing some shopping for Christmas. They got all the toy deals. But yeah, I was actually at somebody's house the other day and they already had their Christmas tree up.
Oh, gosh. That's too early.
It was actually last weekend.
That is too early.
And I was like, holy shit, you have your Christmas tree up.
Yeah, no, that's too early. My wife is one, she will not put any Christmas up until after Thanksgiving.
And I probably shared this on here. My wife's birthday is December 4th, so exactly 4 weeks before Christmas. And my son is the next day. And I guess it's a thing for her. Like, she doesn't put our tree up until after her birthday. It's not officially Christmas till her birthday's over. So I get it even.
You get it longer,
even shorter, kind of Christmas decoration duration than the average person.
Yeah. Well, y'all go use the code TALKDIRT, all caps, all one word. Save yourself 10%, and just don't be an idiot and use the code. That's what you need to do. If you don't use the code, then you're just.
Why would you not want to pay 10% less?
Yeah, I feel like if you don't use the code, then you're obviously a Kamala supporter. Yeah. And some people will be listening to this episode after the election. So there's some people listening because we'll have probably some late listeners.
That's what for our YouTube audience. I wore my.
Oh man, I should have wore mine of him holding his fist up.
Yeah. I got the mug shot, so you really don't know. Like, is he celebrating Trump's incarceration or is he? No, I'm very much. I think that was a pretty iconic.
Well, I got a political shirt.
That was like the most iconic Trump photo until he gets shot. And he stands up and pumps his fist.
I got my kind of political one that you gave me, actually.
Yeah.
The West wasn't won with a registered gun.
You're damn right it wasn't.
That's right. So we need to abolish any gun registration. All right. Before we get in, because I got some really cool one, I feel like last Halloween we did the Skinwalker stuff, some creepy stuff. We're going to do some creepy stuff again this one because it's Halloween. You got to have a little fun with that. But give you all the rundown, I guess, on where I've been at.
Yeah. Harvest. As we left last week, you lacked, like 70 acres? So did you break down? You're still trying to get done?
No, thankfully I did finish. I did break down the next day.
I mean, it wouldn't be harvest without, multiple breakdowns.
Right at the end. I did finish. I finished on Saturday. Cut my last little dab on Saturday. And then, I went and I've been cutting. I did custom, I don't know, I cut about 120 acres custom harvest afterwards. And I gotta tell a funny thing. So yesterday I was cutting this for some buddies of ours, and I actually went to where they were, and because they have one combine they run, and I went to where they were, so they had two running, and man, they don't let no grass grow. We were you're hammering, and
which of course it rained today, and so I imagine they were.
Yeah.
Are they done now?
No, I think they're probably down to, after yesterday, I'm just guessing they're probably down to about 300 acres. I mean, They're close. They're very close.
Because I know everybody was because we've been we needed that rain, but I was like, man, I do feel for the few guys that aren't done harvesting yet.
Yeah. But no, man, I got over there and we ran, and naturally I cut 20 acres and my header broke down. And I was like, gosh dang it. Like, I'm over here trying to help speed them up, and now here I am. And so I lost about an hour. We ran, me and one of his sons. We ran and we fixed it, got it fixed, and it took us. We burned about an hour and a half probably, and then I was
that's
back.
Not too bad.
No, we were moving, and I about starved to death. I didn't eat no lunch, and all I'd had was a bologna biscuit, so I was about dead by the time I got home. I got home about 7:30, and man, I was about to starve to death. But I gotta laugh. And I don't know if he listens to the show, but if he does, man, I'm kind of bragging on you. Their grain buggy guy, I've known that I've ever seen a more impressive grain buggy operator than the one they had.
Which, for the non-grain farming crowd out there, the grain buggy guy usually gets shit on.
Yes, yeah, everybody shits on him.
The combine guy cusses him. The truck drivers cuss him. In
the hierarchy of farming, like row cropping, the combine operator is like Jesus. He's the king, and then it's like basically everyone, and then like the guy that changes the toilet paper at Walmart, and then the grain buggy operator's like beneath him.
It's like the guy is like, okay, we got all the important jobs people are doing, which, I mean, obviously that's a very vital job to the whole workflow.
It is. He just gets shit on all the time.
It's like the combine guy's pissed off because he isn't the combine's, the hopper's full and he's not there quick enough. And
never happened to me yesterday. I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah. Like that's why I'm bragging on. Like, and it's really just in shitting on the grain buggy guy. Like,
it's kind of become just a thing.
It has.
Like that guy gets cussed even if he doesn't deserve it.
I was gonna say, even if he's great. So yesterday, man, I went over and I was cutting, and I only had like half a hopper, and I would turn and cut back, and then I'd turn around and I saw this tractor was like right there with the buggy, and I was like, all right, I'm not done yet. And so then I cut again, I turned, and then I turned again. He was like there again. He had like pulled up closer. And so every time I'd make the cut, I'd turn and be like, yeah, like he was like there again. And it was like, it was giving me anxiety because I'm like, shit, I'm not full. Like, I'm not ready to unload.
These beans aren't that good.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm not ready yet. And so that's what I called Mr. David, and I was like, hey, do I need to unload this dude's right here? And he was like, no, he just stays on top of you. He's like, you just unload when you're ready, when you get full. So I just kept cutting. And where I brag too, like, man, when you put that auger out, like before my auger is fully out, it's like, man, this tractor comes flying up beside you. Like, he's got to be doing 15 miles an hour, flying up like dust, like rolls past him. And dude, he stops in the exact spot every time, like middle of the buggy. I mean, and he goes from like 15 to 4 miles an hour or 5, whatever I'm running. It just perfectly stops right there. And I'm like, dude, it's impressive. Like, he was an impressive grain buggy operator. And Jonathan, but it don't matter who I was helping. But anyways, he told me that the guy was like, asked him, hey, does Logan, can he unload on the go? Now, we were cutting some kind of rough fields, like they were real hilly, rolling hills, and hell, it's hard to unload on the go whenever you're like on hillsides and everything else. But he told me, he's like, yeah, he asked if you could unload on the go. And I'm like, well, hell yeah, I can unload on the go. What kind of damn combine operator? So after that, I like, because I would stop some when we would be in a weird spot. Hell, after that, I was like, all right, we just go unload on the go. Man, we'd be on like all over the place and shit. It never phased him. And like, if I'd slow down, like he would just, man, I don't know how he did it. It was impressive. He was a hell. I tell you, it's rare that I'm like blown away by a grain buggy operator.
Yeah, we don't need to share too many names. People would be trying to hire him away.
They will. And he's a hell of a grain operator, buggy operator. So, yeah, I remember when I left, I was like, I was thoroughly impressed by their grain buggy operator.
But you made sure not to compliment him to his face, right?
Yeah, I don't know that I ever spoke to him. Like, and nothing against. Well, when my header broke down, he came over there, and he was kind of trying to help me, and then he had to go unload the other guy. Well, I called and was like, let me get this off the buggy. And so I didn't have radios. So the dude I was helping radioed was like, hey, get that from Logan before he goes to the trucks to work on his truck or combine. And I mean, dude, he was like, yeah, man. And like his tractor turned around and he came flying up there. And yeah, it was impressive. So
how many trucks they have running?
Oh man, probably 5.
Damn, yeah.
We were balls to the wall, man.
Yes, that's a well-oiled machine.
I had to piss for like an hour. I didn't even have time to stop. I
can't stop.
The grain buggy man was there. Like, sometimes you can catch like, I don't know, sometimes you can just catch a moment to pee. And I was like, I don't even feel like I got time to take a piss. We're rolling so hard. But we cut, but me and him together.
Were you like in Dumb and Dumber? You're just filling up beer bottles.
Yeah. But I had just cleaned out my combine, so I didn't have any bottles in there.
Oh man.
But we probably, I don't know, me and him cut. Oh shit, we cut probably, I'm just guessing 150 acres just between the two of us. Like, and that was in the matter of just a few hours. I mean, we were hammering it. So, but we finished up where they needed help, and I got back and parked the combine in the shed. So I'm like done. I'm mentally done now. Like, I don't want to get back in there. I'm ready to be done.
Yeah.
Dad and I were talking. It's been like 28 or 29 days or something straight of running. So it's like, yeah, ready to be done.
Yeah.
I might take some time off.
I came by here yesterday and talked to Brock. He was pressure washing grain buggy and everything. I was like, well, I guess that means officially done, getting everything tucked away before the rain moves in. He said, yep.
Yeah, I think he was looking forward to some time off.
Yeah.
Which Dad is at the lake now.
Yeah, well, so that's kind of the blessing and the curse of, a dry harvest that goes by fast. Everybody's happy to keep running and getting out of the field, but you don't ever get, every now and then you get, a half inch of rain or something. You're like, all right, we'll take a couple of days off. And it's like that with our harvest here lately. It's either we have a super dry harvest and we just blow through it, and you run for 30, 40 days straight, or you have one of those nightmare harvests like we had a few years ago where it's like it rains, you can't get in the field for like 10 days.
Yep.
Then you run for like a day and a half and it starts raining again, and your harvest drags out, till after Christmas. And,
well, it took exactly, because I was looking, I finished my first field September 21st, and I cut my last field October 26th. Yeah. So almost a month.
Yeah, basically.
And there was one, I think we got rained out 2 days, that entire duration. So it was, like I said, about 28 days or something of running. And so and even doing the custom, like, because I had actually mentally checked out whenever I finished, I was like, all right, I'm done. And so then when they were like, hey, you want to do some custom cutting? I was like, hey, yeah, I do. I mean, I need the money. I needed the money. So, and I was glad to help them. So, but you just mentally are like done.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of get back in the game. Like, all right, I'm not done yet, but it was good. They, like I said, they are a very well-oiled machine. So when you got 5 trucks, man, you can cover some ground if you're willing to run. I mean, they'll run late. They'll cut real late.
Well, where were they hauling to?
Hales Point.
Yeah.
Yep. Same place I hauled 95% of mine.
Kind of on that subject with the granaries and all, there are granaries in our area One that had to shut down, I know of, because of they can't get barges in.
Yeah.
I think they had a little bit of an issue getting some barges out, and basically the tugboat driver said till the river comes up, they're not going to service them anymore. So they had shut one down.
Yeah. Well, Hales Point was delayed. They closed early one day, and they were delayed opening to like 12 one day. It was Saturday, I think, when we were finishing.
Because they were having trouble getting barges.
They had a barge delayed on getting to them, and they were having issues. So,
and sometimes they can't load them quite as heavy because the rivers
pushing them, they go too deep. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. It has been a fast harvest, and I listened to Grain Report, and they were talking about like this has been like one of the fastest harvests across the country like we've ever had.
Not
it's
just us.
Yeah, it's been like freaking just rapid speed on the harvest. So, and I'll tell you guys something that'd be interesting to see before we get into the fun stuff. It'll be interesting to see it because I feel like barring something crazy happen, Trump is going to win, and they've pretty well put out that RFK is going to be heavily involved in the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
And people are really wondering what is that going to mean, because RFK is, I like a lot of what he does. I like a lot of what he does. And he's put out a message that's saying he's going to be pro small to medium farmers and against the big guys. But he hates Roundup with a passion.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he obviously he's a lawyer, and a lot of his, work in the courtroom has been, litigation against, I guess, Monsanto and now Bayer on the harmful effects of glyphosate. And I will, and I'm not a row crop farmer, but I can see where from a row crop farmer standpoint, I would say 90% of farmers, whether you're row crop, cattle, whatever, are Trump people. And probably a lot of people are like you, like, I like what RFK Jr. is saying, but what is that going to look like in the immediate short term? I think the long term, if you're willing to play the long game, they're saying the right things. But, I think a lot of it they're wanting to, and they're pointing out, in my opinion, correctly, that, our current agriculture system, which has not been a total free market, the government has propped up certain things and pushed row crop guys to go bigger, and growing, primarily just these commodity crops, which we talked about at length last week, where we don't know if there's a future there, especially for a small to medium sized guy.
Yeah.
Where we need an off ramp to allow folks like you, if we're going to get away from that, a way to transition over to, doing it in a different, maybe better, healthier way. And I don't know, like I'm not on board with the demonizing glyphosate maybe quite so much, but I do think, a generation or two from now, if that administration does end up in office, and there's at least a hope in my mind, maybe I'm being too optimistic, that there is a plan in place where, we can get back to, making it where you don't have to be a 40,000 acre grower to make ends meet. You can maybe get away from growing just a commodity crop in mass quantities like we have been. And I don't know, I'm not going to even pretend to say that, that future looks, perfectly bright and rosy. I think probably going to be some speed bumps along the way. I think, no doubt. But I think that is interesting. The other thing, Trump has, when he was on with Rogan last week, where he talked about, potentially doing away with the income tax. I'm like, I love what you're saying. I'll believe it when I see it, by replacing income tax with tariffs. Because where people act like, the world can't exist without income tax. Like, no, like in reality, I forget when the income tax was.
It was in the 1900s.
Yeah, it's been like roughly 100 years ago. And like, we had a functioning society prior to that. And, if we can really replace that with tariffs, and what will that do? I know people are scared what that'll do to our, our trade partners and whatnot, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
It will.
And I don't even know that he has the power unilaterally to do that. I would assume he doesn't. Like, you got to get Congress and Senate and all
Yeah.
on board, but if we could at least lay a groundwork to start moving in that direction, at least decrease our tax burden. Because
Oh yeah. Well,
I saw somebody else pointing out today, like that would be like, literally, if he could do that, that would be the single greatest thing economically he could do for individual taxpayers. I mean,
Yeah.
you would have never gotten a raise like you would get if they eliminated the income tax. Like that
Yeah.
would be, I mean, unless you're like a professional athlete, that signs that second contract where you go from making 600,000 a year to 6 million. Like, no,
Yeah.
there's no other way for the average person to get that kind of a raise all
Yep.
of a sudden than like, hey, the government's going to quit extorting money from you.
yeah.
Like, holy shit! Like, what a novel idea.
Yeah.
But
No,
anyway,
Well, and the part I'm interested in the most is to see how is he going to help the small to medium farmers, because that's the class I fall into. And just I was having a conversation with another farmer the other day, and he is a small to medium sized farmer as well. And Congress and them are trying to put out something really fast to help with this year economically farmers, like a payment. And I've seen some figures, potentially $49 an acre on beans, $100 an acre on corn. And like I've shared before how I feel about the payments, but I'm just going to tell you, as we've talked about, unfortunately, if they put one out, hell, I'm just going to have to go and get it, because I'm like everybody else is, and I'm going to be the man hanging out to dry.
well, and with those payments, whether you, I mean, even if you had a record harvest year and did well, I feel like you still have to take it because, well, like you said, to stay on the level playing field with, and like it or not, you are competing with other farmers.
Yes.
And so,
Well, but what me and this dude were talking about, because they put a cap on the amount, and that's how they do anytime we have like a disaster payment there or something, like if there's something catastrophic that happens in the market and they do some sort of safety net, guys like me, we get like, you're like lucky if you get 50 grand. And I mean, and again, I know some listeners are probably like $50,000. But if you've been listening long enough, then you probably know by now that that's not a lot of funds when it comes to, like, in a bad year of row crop, you can lose 200 grand pretty quickly. So $50,000 ain't a lot. It just kind of is supposed to help try to pull your head above water somewhat. But what's frustrating is they always put a cap on it, and I'm good with them putting a cap on it. They need to. But the problem is, and this is exactly before I even could say it, this other guy I was talking to, he said, the bad thing about the caps, I said, what's that? And he goes, all these big guys, they got a bunch of entities.
yeah,
He said, they're just going to cap it off here, cap it there, cap it there. And so he was like, me or you, we might get 50 grand. They might get 2.5 million.
well, that's right. Because, of course, we all know almost like that's the Jones farm or whatever.
Yeah.
And like they work 30,000 acres. But in reality, on paper, they are
Multiple.
20 different farms.
Yeah.
20 different entities that are, and every one of those entities could potentially,
And I know
get that 50 grand.
And I know
but
that they
but
did
it's
that,
all
yeah.
going to the same basic outfit,
Yeah.
and they may have multiple family members that are involved, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things, you're like, no, it's one.
And see, that's
it's the patriarch of the family that runs that whole operation, and they've just got it, split up into all these different.
that's where I'm curious. That's the kind of stuff I'd like to see some change happen. Like, let's stop letting the pig guys get a damn fortune on the payments. If you're going to cap it, then I don't know how they do it. I mean, they got a way they could do it, but they need to cap it in a way where,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I would think it would be like,
base it off your social security
right,
number.
as I was going to say, your social security number. And yeah, maybe you've got 3 or 4 owners because you got a father and 3 sons that are doing it, or daughters, but, we're not misogynistic here.
No.
But,
Oh, actually, I do got to say, Sarah, if you're watching, I haven't forgot about you. I told her I was going to send. She's the one that her child likes to listen to us.
oh, yeah.
We got to get her. I want to send her a care package, and I told her we would. I haven't forgot about you. We honestly just don't have a lot of good swag right now.
Yeah, we do. Hey, we do still have a few shirts in limited sizes. You can go to hurricanecreek.farm. We've got it on my store there. Got the come and tag it shirts. But yeah, we need another shirt idea. We'll do.
Yeah.
I think I like the idea of doing these limited run shirts. You know, just do them once, get them if you want them. If you don't,
you're gay.
Yeah, piss on you.
Yeah.
But need to get some more hats made because because we have never put our hats up.
I know.
We've just been giving them away, and
they go fast. Yeah, our hats were going pretty quickly.
I've actually been talking with my hat guy about getting me some more Hurricane Creek hats, and I think he's just really busy right now because I actually saw him last weekend. He's like, "Yeah, I ain't forgot about you. I got a bunch of other stuff." Because I was going to tell him, I was like, "Well, once you get those made, I need
we need some others.
Some Talk Dirt hats too." But anyway,
well, there you go. Let's get into some Halloween spooky stuff here.
You're a little spooky.
All right, came prepared with my iPad.
Am I gonna be able to sleep tonight?
You might not. You might not. If I get time, because I have to edit this tonight. If I'm like really into it tonight, I'll add some cool.
Shit, you're done with harvest. What are you gonna do tomorrow?
I am gonna just chill. I told dude that's helping me. I was like, man, I'm not doing anything again for I said I might take a week off. But then I told him, I said Monday we'd start clearing, but I'm
back on the track hoe.
Yeah, but I really do.
Are both track hoes operational right now?
No, one is, and the guy is supposed to go Saturday and look at my other one. But if he can get it going, I've actually got the dude that's been helping me. He wants to run the track hoe. He said he can. He knows how. And then Derek, he still wants to keep helping, and so he can run the dozer and hop on the track hoe. So my plan is to actually have all three running this winter.
Y'all have it cleared by Thanksgiving.
Oh, I told him, I was like, dude, if we can run all three and they all stay running, we'll cover some ground. Yeah. So that's the plan. So here we go. All right. Let me get to rolling. So these are some haunted farm stories. And these are true stories. That's what I like specifically sought out true ones. The first one, and I got like a rundown. I did some outlines.
But you know how the media is now. Like who says what's true and what isn't.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. So here you go. The first one we'll talk about is the Phantom Farmer of Black River.
Wow.
Are you scared already?
I'm interested in which Black River, because we've got one not too far from us.
It's in Michigan.
Okay, not the one I was thinking of.
Yes, it's in Black River Valley, Michigan, near the small town of Cedar Springs. This isolated area is surrounded by thick forest and rolling hills that become misty in the spring and late fall. Time frame that this happened was in the 1930s. Jedediah Holt was a farmer known throughout Cedar Springs. He died in the winter of 1932, though he'd been showing signs of ill health for several seasons. This was during the Great Depression, small farms like his were often barely scraping by. And his obsession with working through illness wasn't uncommon in the era, as every crop was critical to survival. So see, we were just talking about you need to take off sometimes. All right, I'm not going to read the local legend. I'm going to read the actual story itself. Here you go. Black River has its share of mysteries, but none more chilling than the story of Jedediah Holt, a farmer who worked the land into his dying days. Jedediah was known for his dedication. He worked tirelessly through every season, often at the expense of his health and family. One harsh winter, an illness struck him down. Fevered and delirious, he dragged himself out of bed each day, determined to work his fields as if they were calling him. Jedediah was found dead one bitter January morning. His hands frozen to the middle of his plow, and his eyes were wide open, staring at his land as though it held a secret only he could see. The townsfolk buried him quickly, fearing the fever might spread. Because remember, this is 1930s. His farm was left untouched, and for decades his land remained a tangle of weeds and abandoned equipment. But then people started seeing lights in the fields on foggy nights, a flickering lantern moving slowly as though hung from the harness of an invisible plow horse. Those brave enough to approach say they saw the ghostly figure of Jedediah, eyes locked on the earth as he moved methodically, turning the soil with his spectral hands. Some even claim to hear his whispered mantra, "The land needs me." One night, a group of teenagers dared each other across his field, and they swear they heard Jedediah's voice, raspy and hollow, urging them to leave before the harvest was done. "It's not ready," he said. They ran, and the field fell silent again, with only the mist and the memory of a farmer bound forever to his land.
Well,
so we need to go there. We're going to have to go to all these locations.
I just wonder, of course, my question is, Is that land just still laying fallow now? 100 years later?
Surely
almost
not.
100 years?
Surely not.
Yeah, I would imagine that not, but is there still, is his ghost still out there?
See, it says here some claim that his ghost was first spotted in the 50s by a young couple who had taken a wrong turn in the valley. And the tale's been passed down ever since, with more sightings reported every few years, especially in late autumn. So,
well,
that'd be a hell of a wrong turn.
I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like, it gave me just a little bit of a chill.
It was kind of giving me a little chills there, yeah. I mean, I love these because these are, like I said, these are supposed to be true. Like and I love horror stuff.
You did not read this on CNN.
No, this would be labeled as misinformation by them. All right, we'll go to the next one because I've got 4 here, and then I've actually got I got like 3 or 4 that are actually specifically in Tennessee.
Yeah,
because we're Tennessee folks, but y'all still enjoy them. So we got a lot of Tennessee guys that listen to, but our other listeners, they'll like them too. All right, now the second one is the curse. Well, let's see. Hold on. Would you go? Would you go to this farm? Or would you be a little hesitant?
Yeah, I mean, I on the surface, I think I'd be willing. In the fall, when the fog is in the valley.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to at least look from a distance. Then once I saw the flickering light,
you don't think you'd go any closer?
I'm a little bit of a chicken shit when it comes to that. Like, I'd be like, all right, now that's pretty damn creepy.
Yeah.
I can at least confirm there's some validity to this. Let's get the hell out of here.
Well,
but nobody was ever like harmed,
Not that I've heard, no. Now, it does make
it sound like he was given a warning. He said, you need to leave.
It's not ready yet. Yeah, get out of here. I'm kind of the same because I can actually remember when I was in high school, and it was often on Halloween, like every year on Halloween for probably 2 years, probably when I was about 17, when we could drive, 16, 17, 18 years. Me and some of my buddies, we would go out to like some cemeteries and try to see if we could see anything weird. Yeah. And we did get creeped out pretty good one night. I don't remember which cemetery it was. We did go to the cemetery on our farm down here, in the woods. That was creepy because it was like babies. It's like 1800. It'd be like they only lived like a month or something. That was pretty creepy. But as for people that don't know, I do a podcast with my church too. Yes, Potty Mouth Me does one. We talk about cussing on there. Not saying we condone it, but it's not the end of the world. So if we got a hardcore legalist listening, he's like, nah, throwing something at the TV or whatever. But it's called Reverent Rebellious. But we did like demons and stuff. Now I'm less inclined to go like actively seeking out the supernatural because now I'm like, it seems like when guys start to dabble with that, then it starts to return.
It can spiral out of control.
Yes. And so I am hesitant to like actually go seek them out. Because when people get into that demonic, not to get too weird here, but when people get into that demonic situation, it's generally because they've been dabbling in the occult or kind of trying to reach out to these things.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to personally seek out.
That's kind of my, like, let the sleeping dog lie.
Yeah.
If his ghost is out there, like, what do I have to gain other than just, satisfying my curiosity by going out there and checking it out?
Yeah. Yeah. So if any of you, as we read these, if any of you have heard these or you have personally experienced any of these.
Yeah, like if you happen to be in that area and like, somebody, definitely
tell us.
Right in.
I meant to do this a few weeks ago. If you have a really creepy story, because this is what we did on our other one. If you've got a really creepy, like haunting type story on your farm or whatever, write it in. Go to talkdirtpodcast.com, go to our contact page, write it into us. I would love to hear them. We'll read it on air. All right. The next one is the curse of the lost harvest. In 1923, let me give you the kind of the rundown on this one a little bit. So this is in southern Kentucky, so a little closer to us.
Not too far from us. Yeah.
Yep, in a stretch of fertile land known locally as the Owens Bottom. It's about 10 miles outside of Bardstown. Where's Bardstown?
I'll look it up.
The land sits along the Green River, which often floods in the spring, adding to its fertile soil and crop yield. So this takes place in autumn of 1923, and it's a series of tragic deaths that took place over a span of a few weeks in late September and October. Kentucky was undergoing rapid changes in the 20s with mechanized farming equipment becoming more common. However, safety protocols were minimal, and rural areas saw their fair share of tragic accidents as workers learned to operate the new machines. So,
which I would not call Bardstown southern Kentucky. I would call it more like
central.
Central, yeah. It's not too far south of Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
what, about 7 hours from us?
Whole lot closer to Louisville than Nashville.
Yeah.
But I can tell you how far it is from us. 346 miles by road from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good little drive.
We're safe.
Yeah, we're safe. Yeah. Yeah, if this comes after us, man, it really did some traveling. So in 1923, the Owens family in southern Kentucky, central Kentucky, you want to call it, was excited for what promised to be a bountiful harvest. They had worked tirelessly through drought and storm, and the fields were thick with ripe corn. But as harvest season began, tragedy struck. A young farmhand named Timothy was found dead in the silo, his body mangled as if he'd fallen, though no one understood how he'd gotten there alone. The townsfolk mourned, but the Owens pressed on, determined to finish the harvest. Days later, another worker, Amos, was crushed beneath the hay baler. Then, within a week, a third farmhand drowned in a shallow pond. His body was tangled in reeds that seemed to pull him down. Each time the family tried to finish the harvest, but each time something went horribly wrong. Finally, after the third death, the Owens family was spooked enough to leave the crop unharvested. That's pretty intense. If it, you know.
Yeah.
So local farmers now call it the cursed cornfield. Those who ventured into the abandoned fields report hearing eerie whispers on the wind, as if carried from another time, voices begging for release. Some say the land itself is cursed, that the spirits of those who died will not rest until the harvest is completed. Equipment often breaks down or stops working altogether when near the field, and one farmer swore he saw spectral hands reaching up from the soil, grasping desperately at the stalks. The land yields abundantly, but not a single soul dares to take it.
Well,
so it makes me. I'm curious. I'm like, so did they never harvest? Did they never harvest the crop?
Well, and kind of same question I had on the last one. Like, I wonder, like, what that exact farm is today, you know, dude.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, all right. I want to know.
I mean, if you put that brand new X9 John Deere in those fields, does it just break down?
I don't know. And maybe. It says here, local legend today, few dare enter the Owens Bottom at night. Some have tried to harvest the land over the years, but each time, inexplicable events such as equipment malfunctions and mysterious noises keep them from completing the jobs. Locals say the land is waiting for the harvest to finish itself.
Yeah, that's another one. I'd love to talk to somebody from that area and just hear them like, yeah, like they just let all that land, you know, grow up, or like, oh no,
we have
such farms that all the time. You know, they've been farming it for 20 years now.
We got some Kentucky farmers on that listen to this show. I know for a fact. So come on, if y'all know about Owens Bottom, y'all got to tell us.
Around Bardstown, yep.
Yep. All right, we'll go on to the next one here. This one takes place in Hallowed Valley, Tennessee.
Hallowed Valley, Tennessee.
It says it's near Pulaski.
Pulaski, sorry. Okay, I know where Pulaski is.
How far is that from us?
It's southern middle Tennessee, down near the Alabama line.
Okay.
It'd be 150 miles or so from us, probably. Yeah.
It says here, it lies at the foot of the Appalachian Mountains and was site of a Civil War skirmish in 1864 known locally as the Battle of Hallowed Ridge. It says the time frame is late 19th century through today. And I won't give away what it is. Oh, and every owner since has reported the same haunting phenomenon.
Wow.
The historical context is Pulaski saw significant troop movement during the Civil War, especially in the waning years. The bodies of soldiers were often buried hastily in shallow graves, leaving many fields as unmarked resting places. The Battle of Hallowed Ridge was particularly bloody, with nearly 50 soldiers buried in an unmarked mass grave somewhere in the valley. Now, if I was going to think of a haunted place, that sounds like a good way to brew one up.
Yeah.
Just going to chunk all the bodies in this thing. And
And that all
Burial.
sounds very believable with me, you know, being somewhat familiar with that area. Like, yeah, that's a very plausible.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. And you can think of during that time in the Civil War. I mean, hell, man. I mean, they were so. I would say resources were so terrible. I mean, you just had to pretty much do what you could, and yeah. So here's the tale. In a remote Tennessee valley, a piece of farmland has gained a reputation that few dare to test, known as the Screaming Acres. Now, that name just is pretty unnerving.
Yeah.
This stretch of land is beautiful by day, rolling hills and fertile soil perfect for crops. But by night, it becomes a place of terror, with neighbors claiming that the soil itself emits bone-chilling screams that echo across the valley. No one knows why or how, but some believe the answer lies in the history buried beneath the fertile ground. During the Civil War, the valley saw a brutal battle. Soldiers on both sides fell by the dozens, and the blood-soaked ground became their final resting place. Legend has it that the dead were buried hastily and shallowly, their spirits left restless and forgotten. On misty nights, the ground groans and cries, the voices of fallen soldiers rising up, calling out in anguish. Those brave enough to step onto the land on such nights say the earth feels cold to the touch, as if reaching up with icy fingers tugging at their boots. One local priest, upon hearing of the tales, attempted to bless the land. For a time, the screams stopped, but not long after, an unusual crop of blackened corn grew on the land, twisted and decayed. The farmer who owned the land said it was as if the soil itself was rejecting life. Now, whenever the mist rolls in, locals swear the ground trembles slightly, as if caught between the past and present, a battlefield trying to release its tortured souls. That one's pretty creepy. Yeah. I got a little bit of chill when I talked about the black corn. Like, that's pretty creepy. Especially when the dude said the farmer says that it's like the soil itself was rejecting life. That's pretty creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Kind of my same thing. Maybe my theme with all these, like, I just want to.
What are they doing today?
I'd love to hear someone who's tried to work there, which may be a situation where it's fine, you know, and then every so many years, all of a sudden some weird stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it says here some.
Yeah, it'd be a field I'd want to get in with the combine like first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Knock it out real quick. We're out of there by 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that'd be one, man. If it like broke down and it was getting dark or getting late, I'd be like, we'll be back in the morning to fix this one.
We'll go ahead and knock off early this evening.
Yeah. And that's what it says.
But you know, good and damn well, it'd be like there'd be weather rolling in.
Be about to rain.
It was going to set in raining for several days. You'd be like, no, we need to get going. You're out there till 8:00 at night working.
Man, and you'd be working on that combine and feel like a hand on your shoulder.
Icy hand.
Icy hand.
And you're just reaching up out of the ground on your ankle.
Yep. Like that cold chill on your neck or something.
That would. All right, we're out of here.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. That's what, and it says, and apparently there is some odd sounds. Because it says here, some attribute the screams to the natural echoes of the valley. Others swear they are the cries of soldiers still lost in battle. People in the area say the screams are loudest on foggy nights and during certain times in autumn, near the anniversary of the battle. So there's clearly some weird sounds that come from this valley. Yeah. I can't think of a valley around here that I've been to that I like hear sounds.
Yeah, I mean, or if you do, like it's like, oh yeah, that was the wind.
Yeah,
or, you know, it's not that abnormal or some weird animal, you know, howling or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been out here before. I went out here one night. I don't remember what I went out here for. I think I was just going up. Honestly, I think I was just in a mood to get kind of creeped out, and I walked out here, and the moon was kind of like shining through the trees. It was like a bright moon night, and I was walking in the hayfield back here. This has been years ago. And man, I got pretty creeped out because the way it was shining through the trees, it was creating shadows in the like hayfield. And for people who don't know, the hayfield is pretty open all out there, and this is surrounded by trees, but like the field itself is flat land, like you can see really far. And all the shadows were out there. And about that time, man, some coyotes struck up howling, and I think I was like, all right, it's time to get out of here. Yeah. I turned around and walked back.
Cat, like stuff like that, that's a little bit creepy, but it was like, okay, that's totally explainable. It's,
Oh yeah, it is. It is explainable. It wasn't like a weird rustling in the weed, like leaves beside me, and I can't tell what it is, or like a weird, like, like a cougar. Cougars have a terrible scream. And I swear people thought there was one around here.
Oh yeah. Well, the only cougars around here, the single ladies.
I think there's a lot of those around here.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the next one here. Again, I'm going to reiterate, if you have any info on this stuff, write into us.
Yeah, that would be a little closer to home. There might be. I know some people. I went to college with several boys from kind of around that area.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, like a lot of things, I hadn't kept in great close contact with them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, here you go. This next one is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. This farm is located just outside the city limits in a historic farming area known for its tobacco and corn crops. The time frame is the first appearance was in the 1920s. Okay. This one, the mysterious farmhand. He worked on the farm in 1924, shortly before the tragic accident. The family who owns the farm reported sightings sporadically throughout the 20th century, particularly during harvest season. The context is North Carolina's tobacco farms were in their heyday in the 20s. Farmhands were in high demand, making Ellis's appearance unsurprising at the time. His death, however, struck a chord with locals who saw it as a tragedy born out of the labor-intensive farming lifestyle. All right, here we go. It's called the Silent Harvest Hand. In the rolling hills of North Carolina, a tale circulates about a mysterious farmhand known only as Ellis. He arrived one autumn day just as the summer heat began to wane and worked tirelessly for the entire season. Strong and silent, Ellis never complained, never asked for a break, and showed up at the crack of dawn without fail. The farmer owners appreciated his hard work and efficiency, and Ellis always seemed to know exactly what needed to be done, like he had walked those fields 1,000 times before. As the last of the crops were packed away and harvest season wound down, Ellis vanished. The owners assumed he'd simply moved on to his next job, but when they counted the payroll, they realized they'd never paid him. Ellis had never asked. Curious, they asked around town, only to discover that no one else had ever seen or heard of him. No records, no family, no trace. Perplexed, they spoke to the town historian, who brought out an old ledger. Decades before, a man named Ellis Whitlock had worked the very same farm, but he had died in a threshing accident on the field in 1924. His death, they learned, had been horrific. Caught in the machine's blades, Ellis had perished in an instant, his last sight the fields he had tended for so long. Some say his spirit remained, forever bound to the land he had worked with such dedication. To this day, the family occasionally spots an apparition on misty mornings, a lone figure moving through the fields, silently tending the earth. And every harvest, they leave a small offering on the edge of the field, a token of respect for the ghost who might still be watching over their crops. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of,
well, that's a friendly ghost.
It is, yeah. But I wonder if they didn't leave him any, if he'd be like pissed.
Well, it sounds like that first year they didn't, because they didn't know.
Well, yeah. But it's kind of I would really like to know.
He's just, I mean, that's kind of more of an uplifting one. He died out there, and he loved, the land and the harvest so much. He
comes back
from the afterlife just to help them out every year.
Yeah. It does. It says here, modern owners and farmhands alike report strange sensations in the fields, feeling an unseen presence nearby as they work. Some have even said that tools and equipment will be mysteriously moved overnight, almost as if Ellis's ghost is still pitching in to help the harvest along. That it's kind of like, I'm thinking it would be kind of cool to me, just from my weird horror standpoint or whatever. Like, if I was a farmhand helping this guy and we finished cutting this field and he's unloaded into the grain buggy and he leaves a little bit and he backs the combine over, sticks the auger out and just dumps a little pile out on the field edge. And I'd be like, what are you doing? He's like, that's for Ellis.
Yeah. Well, if you're hunting out there a month later and game warden's like, y'all dump this corn. No.
That's Ellis's.
That's Ellis's corn. We're not baiting this field. No, and trust me, you don't want to piss off Ellis.
I wonder if that would
Ellis
work.
Sounds like
he sounds like a nice guy.
He's like Casper.
Yeah, he is. We watched that last weekend with the kids. All right, we got time. Yeah, I want to hit these. We got 4 that are in Tennessee specifically.
In addition to the Pulaski one.
Yeah. So this one is like probably the most famous Tennessee of all. Like this one, everybody knows this one in Tennessee, and that is the Bell Witch. Familiar with that one?
I'm familiar with the name, but I'm not necessarily familiar with the story.
All right, well, here you go. In the early 1800s, the Bell family settled in Adams, Tennessee. Now,
that's not far from us at all. Yeah.
That's not too far.
That's just this side, Tennessee River. Yeah.
Yep. Hoping to build a peaceful life on their new farmland. Well, that was a dumb hope. Anytime you have that hope, it's going to be shattered. Soon, John Bell and his family began experiencing unexplainable disturbances in their modest home. At first, it was minor, a faint whisper in the dead of night, a light tapping on the walls as if someone or something was knocking from the other side. As the weeks wore on, the entity's presence grew bolder. Bed sheets were ripped from their sleeping bodies, and chain-like dragging sound echoed down the hallways at all hours. Soon the entity began attacking the family directly, with John Bell and his young daughter Betsy facing the brunt of the torment. Betsy was often slapped, scratched, and even had her hair pulled. Neighbors would arrive to find her tear-streaked and trembling, speaking of a disembodied voice that called her name in the dark. John Bell grew ill as the attacks persisted, his health declining day by day as if an invisible weight was suffocating him. The entity, now referred to as the Bell Witch, became so notorious that even General Andrew Jackson, who would later become president, visited the Bell farm. Legend has it that Jackson and his entourage encountered the witch firsthand, something so unsettling that they quickly departed, never speaking of what happened that night. In 1820, after years of torment, John Bell died. His face twisted in terror, reportedly with the sound of faint laughter still lingering in his ears. The witch claimed responsibility, her voice mocking him from beyond. The Bell Witch Cave, part of the original Bell property, remains a chilling location to this day. Those brave enough to enter report feeling a suffocating darkness within, as if the witch still guards her secrets in the cold, damp stone walls.
Oh.
You want to go there?
I must say, it sounds like a field trip. It's not far.
No, it ain't. I think Pat, that's on the other one, I think he's like, wants to go to that one. I'd go.
Yeah,
I would go.
I'd say you two go. Yeah, you're going to check it out. Report back to me.
Yeah. It's crazy too. Like, see, I love the stuff about like Andrew Jackson went. Like, that's where I'm like, oh man, I wonder if that's true.
Yeah.
Because if he went and like his entourage, because I'm sure his entourage is going to be military guys.
Yeah,
like
I don't know at what point in his career, that he went, but yeah.
If that freaked them out enough they never returned and never talked about it, then they clearly got freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Which part of me too does wonder, when there's already a legend about a place, like how much of it is in your head? Because the hearing voices and seeing things. Like if it's somebody that shows up and like has no idea that there's ever been anything weird, and they report the same thing that other people reported, like, oh, okay, like that's a whole nother level of freakiness than if like Andrew Jackson shows up to investigate
because he's heard about it.
Yeah, this place kind of weird.
Yeah,
you expected it to be weird.
That is true. Yeah, it would be almost like, it'd be nice to take somebody, that just is oblivious.
Yeah, and you never mentioned anything to it, and like, then after the fact, you're like, anything weird about that at all?
Yeah, they're like, man, I was taking a shower and there was
matter of fact,
blood-covered corpse standing there next to me. That would be, that's true. That's the way we should test haunted places. All right, this next one is the ghost of Wheatland's Plantation near Sevierville. All right.
So a little further from us. East Tennessee.
I was going to say, that's near Gatlinburg area.
Yeah,
all right.
Right there.
Wheatland's Plantation, nestled in Sevierville, Tennessee, is one of the state's oldest properties dating back to 1820. The plantation is steeped in blood and tragedy. Of course it is. In 1825, a terrible fire broke out in the main house, trapping and killing several children. Their laughter, once a symbol of hope and life, was replaced by an eerie silence that settled over the grounds, leaving an oppressive air of sorrow. Not long after, the plantation became a battleground during the Civil War, as Confederate and Union soldiers clashed on the property. Men fell by the dozens, staining the ground red. The wounded screamed for help, and the dying whispered final prayers, but the land offered them no mercy. When the fighting ended, the bodies were buried in shallow graves. Again with those damn shallow graves.
Shallow graves and the blood-soaked soil.
Yeah, that's just a bad combination. And the plantation owners continued their lives on top of the soldiers' resting places. Today, Wheatland's plantation is haunted by the souls who met their tragic ends there. Visitors and staff alike report apparitions of soldiers roaming the grounds, their uniforms torn and bloody. Others see ghostly children wandering the fields, their small forms flickering like candlelight in the evening mist. Many hear footsteps echoing in empty rooms, and some claim to feel an invisible hand tugging at their clothes as if one of the children is pleading for help. The main house itself seems alive, with doors creaking open and slamming shut at odd doors, and windows rattling as if something is trying to escape. The energy there is thick, the air is cold and heavy, as though the plantation is a threshold to the past, refusing to let go of the souls it harbors. That'd be creepy.
Yeah.
That'd be creepy. It makes me, I'm thinking too about this, not on a farm, but really close to home is the Orpheum in Memphis.
Yeah.
It's haunted, they say, and there's
Really?
Yeah, apparently there is a seat that they save, and it's for the girl that haunts the Orpheum.
Really?
Yeah.
I was not familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure it's the Orpheum. I'll look when we finish this.
Orpheum Theater, famous. Theater.
I saw Nate Bargatze there when me and Marcy went and saw him there.
I think the only time I can think of I've been there was we went and saw the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh,
Like when I was in high school.
very sophisticated.
I fell asleep. Honest to God, I fell asleep.
I've never seen that one, but I feel like it'd be a good one to fall asleep to.
You're more of like the
Film theater
the
thing.
film theater kind of guy.
I still wouldn't like it.
Well, it was kind of like a musical, I think. I really don't remember. I fell asleep. But like it was a big deal when it came to Memphis, and it was at the Orpheum, and like I remember I was like, this is gay.
Yeah.
Like I'd like wear like me and my brother and my parents went, and like I had to wear like a tie.
Oh yeah, you got to dress nice.
And
for that.
honest to God, I fell asleep. And at the end, there's like a big explosion, and the whole cast.
Were you
comes
like, whoa, ho?
That's exactly how it was. Like it woke me up, and I was like, stood up and clapped. I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah. No, there.
Only time I've ever been to the Orpheum.
See,
There's always all kinds of plays and stuff going
yeah.
on there.
I'm going to go to a local play. Speaking of that, here in a couple weeks, Young Frankenstein is going to be shown in Covington.
At
The Ruffin.
There's Ruffin, yeah.
Yeah. Now, see, I love that. Like, I definitely go see. So,
Well, when is that one? Like, is that
November 15th.
would it be appropriate for kids?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was about
Yeah.
to say Young Frankenstein sounds. Yeah.
Yeah. You never watched the movie, did you?
So, hold on.
I've been telling you to watch it for like 20 years.
Hold on. Who does that one?
Mel Brooks. It's Gene Wilder. It's him and Igor and
Is that the Abby Normal?
yeah.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
have seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I almost wore that shirt tonight.
Okay. All right. There's a very good chance I'll either be at a softball tournament or at a horse show. But if
Yeah.
I'm not at one of those two things, is it on Saturday night?
Yeah, 15th. I think that's
All right. I'll try to get at least my kids, if not my wife and kids, to go.
it's on that's a Friday night, but they'll have multiple showings, so they should have a Saturday night as well. They'll probably have 3 or 4 showings.
We can go eat a steak at the cellar and then go over there and
Yep.
catch a show.
So the Orpheum, it was built back in 1928. The theater is said to be haunted by multiple ghosts, but there are 2 well-known spirits that have made their presence known: Mary and a masked figure. Mary was 9 years old when she was said to have died in a car accident in front of the theater. She wears a white dress and has pigtails in her hair. She greets the employees of the theater with flickering lights and slamming doors and watches the performances. The masked ghost is rumored to live in the theater's air ducts and has reportedly been seen waving from them during performances. I'm pretty sure that doesn't say anything about. I swear they had a seat for her. I don't know. I'll have to look into that more. I don't want to like wear people out with that. But let's get back to this real quick. We got enough time to finish this up. So the next one, I ain't never heard of this, is in Castellan Springs, Tennessee.
I believe I want to say it's around Murfreesboro.
Okay. It's called Craig Font Mansion. It's the haunting of Craig Font Mansion. I'm a sucker for a haunted house. Like, I just love a haunted house. Like, that's probably some of my favorite books, some of my favorite movies. A lot of times, like The Conjuring, you know, it centers around like a haunted farm and a haunted house. Like, I just love a creepy haunted house. So Craig Font Mansion, a stately home in Castellan Springs, Tennessee, was built.
I wasn't entirely right. So it's more like Hendersonville, Gallatin, which is actually where my sister-in-law's from.
Yeah. There you go.
I'll have to ask her about this one. Yeah.
Yeah. It was built by General James Winchester in the early 1800s. Yeah, Craig Font Mansion.
All right.
It was designed to reflect the general's wealth and social standing. The mansion was the grandest in the area, filled with fine furniture, exquisite artwork, and elegant rooms. But the Winchester family's time at Craig Font was far from idyllic. Several of his children fell ill and passed away within its walls, each loss weighing heavily on the family. As the years passed, strange occurrences began to plague the mansion. Visitors reported hearing children's laughter echoing down the empty corridors, a joyful sound tinged with a haunting sadness. Others speak of footsteps pattering across the floor of rooms long empty, as if the children are still playing hide and seek within their former home. One room, believed to be where General Winchester passed away, has a chilling reputation. Guests describe feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if someone is watching them, unseen yet palpable. Late at night, those staying in the mansion have seen a spectral woman in period clothing wandering the halls. She moves silently, her face is a blur of sorrow, her hand lightly grazing the walls as though she's searching for something lost to time. Some believe she is a former nursemaid or mother mourning the children she could not save, bound to Craig Font by the unending grief. The mansion's halls are said to exude a cold, lifeless air, the echoes of laughter and the whisper of ghostly footsteps, reminders of the lives once filled with promise but ultimately claimed by tragedy. I'm gonna tell you, man, I think like ghost kids would be almost the creepiest.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole, like, life gone too soon, and then they, hang around to haunt you for decades, centuries later.
And the kids laughing. Like, wouldn't like children's laughter just, that creep me out?
It would, but you kind of wonder, is this is it like Ellis, where it's actually like a friendly spirit that just wants, companionship? And
it may be.
For people to remember them, or is it, are they there to, like, rip your soul out?
Yeah. So my grandmother's house on my mom's side was haunted.
Yeah. I've heard you talk about that.
Yeah. I was too young. Like, I don't even remember. I've heard so many stories. Actually, on my old show, I had two of my cousins on that side.
Right. I listened to that.
Yeah. We talked about it. I thought it was pretty fascinating, but, my grandmother over there, I called her Granny, and she would hear, Mom said she used to get onto them, like they'd be in the living room or something, and she said her mom would come in there, like maybe she was trying to take a nap, and she'd be like, "You kids are making too much noise," and Mom would be like, "We haven't been doing anything," and she said, "Y'all been running up and down this hallway, laughing and all the stuff. I've been heard you the whole time." And Mom was like, it literally wasn't us.
Well, that sounds like something my kids would say.
Yeah, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. It was a ghost.
They were totally guilty.
Yeah. But she was like, she said particularly there was this hallway, and I think my sister has even talked about it before. Like, there was this hallway that was like the worst. Like, it was like the creepiest, because their house actually used to be a hospital. It was a hospital before they turned it into a house. So a lot of people died in this thing. And the hall, I don't know what it was in the hospital, but needless to say, a lot of crap would happen there. And I just remember as a kid, I used to play in the hallway. Like, I can vaguely remember. And then as I got older, I heard these stories. I used to tell my mom, like, "You let me play in that hallway." I'm like, it was like the most haunted place of that house, and I'd play in that hallway. I don't know I don't remember. I might have thought I had an imaginary friend that was just a dead friend that I was playing with, but
nothing ever really bad happened to anyone.
No, like my one of my aunts, she did say like she was like slapped and hit, and then she did have like she was held down one time, like sleep paralysis almost, like said she could feel something like holding her down, like she was unable to get out of the bed. Which a ghost physically touching me I would burn the house down and never return.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if it would, I mean, you know, doors would swing open. Like Josh and them that I had on the other show, they talked about like doors opening and closing, windows that you would shut would be up, like would be open. And like, it was a lot of like mischievous haunting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But I'll tell you, it was so haunted that after my grandparents passed away, it was passed down in the family and they bulldozed it.
I was about to say that the house, unfortunately, is no longer there.
No. Yeah, I know. I mean, because after I got old enough to know, I was like, dang, I'd like to have gone there, just seeing if I see anything weird. But Josh and some of them tried to stay the night there after my grandparents passed away, and I don't think they stayed the whole night because it was like so much weird stuff was happening. Which Josh, he lived right next to the house, and he had some really weird crap happen in his house.
Really?
Yeah, like all the drawers opened one night in his kitchen. And Josh ain't lying. Like he said he had a buddy over there. They had been out like drinking and hanging out or something. And he said that literally I think they went in there. I don't remember how it all happened, but he said all the drawers were opened in the kitchen. And he said his buddy was like, I'm going home. And so he said his friend left. And I said, dang, man, what did you do? He said, I went upstairs and went to bed. And I'm like, you just went to bed? And he's like, yeah, I slept fine. I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it ended with the house, but yeah, it was a weird thing. I'll have a question for you kind of on that when we finish this. Here's the last one. All right, this is the Spectre of Rotherwood Mansion in Kingsport. I've heard of that.
Kingsport's Upper East Tennessee.
Yeah.
Part of the Tri-Cities.
Okay.
Johnson City and Bristol and Kingsport.
Gotcha. All right. Rotherwood Mansion in Kingsport, Tennessee has been a place of heartbreak and despair since its construction in 1818. Reverend Frederick Moss built the mansion as a testament to prosperity, yet it quickly became shrouded in misfortune. Not long after completion, his daughter was set to be married and the mansion was decorated lavishly for their celebration. But the tragedy struck when she drowned on her wedding day, her veil floating in the river carried downstream as a haunting emblem of her unrealized future. Years later, the mansion's subsequent owners met similar fates with untimely deaths and sudden misfortunes befalling each new family who tried to call Rotherwood home. It became whispered among townsfolk that the mansion was cursed, its halls forever haunted by the Lady in White, Ross's daughter, who appears near the river in her wedding gown, staring at the waters that took her life. She's often seen with a mournful gaze, her veil draped over her face and her figure blurred like a mist on the water. Inside Rotherwood, the air is perpetually cold, and guests report feeling as though they're being watched by eyes that do not sleep. Some nights, strange shadows flicker across the walls and an icy draft sweeps through the mansion, extinguishing lights and chilling anyone brave enough to stay. The Lady in White occasionally appears in the mansion's upper rooms, her form visible only from the corner of the eye, vanishing when directly looked at, leaving behind a lingering sense of grief and foreboding. Those who have dared to spend a night say they hear sobs echoing through the halls of her, as if her spirit remains trapped, forever searching for her lost love.
Wonder how she drowned on her wedding day.
I don't know. What a terrible...
I mean, there's lots of ways to drown, but I'm like, wow, like, was she really like already in her wedding gown, or is that just how the ghost reappears?
Yeah. What a terrible thing, man. Like, you're looking forward to getting married and your bride freaking drowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, the looking directly at it.
Did the groom drown her?
That would be convenient, wouldn't it? Like, it'd be convenient for him. Like, if he was planning on something and then he's like, well, she drowned.
Yeah. Man.
And that's why she returns.
Investigate.
Yeah. Because her story hasn't been solved. So now the question, as we get towards the end of this, is do you believe in ghosts?
I have never had any kind of encounter that makes that leads me to say I do. I mean, I would say it like that. Like you can't prove a negative. Like, so it's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I can't prove they don't exist, but I've never had anything that's told me they do. So.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm like, I don't know that I believe in ghosts, but I definitely believe in demons. And so, but I'm like, but now a person that just dies, like, I don't think that they're a demon, because there'd be like, why would just a random person die but like turn into a demon?
Yeah.
So that's right. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
And like with all these weird places, I go back to the whole thing where it's like, like if I go to like one of those mansions and like I like see or hear weird stuff, it's like, well, yeah, but I went there expecting.
Yeah.
But like if I guess there's a lot more validity to it if people show up there and like have no preconceived, notions about any sort of weirdness, and they're like, man, this place just kind of creeps me out, or even more specific than that, like, I heard a voice during the night. I woke up to have to take a leak, and I thought I saw somebody
say that's a small PP. I'd be like, you asshole.
Yeah.
You asshole ghost. It's cold in here. You make a cold wind blow when you come into the room.
Everybody knows I have a small PP. It doesn't take a ghost to know that.
Yeah, this is an inside joke.
Tell me something I don't already know. Yeah. But
it's a medical condition. Yeah, like
it's cold. These damn ghosts. It's cold in here. There's a chill in there.
Yes.
But
oh yeah.
But so I don't know. I don't want to say that. I mean, I guess I would be as a non-believer, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I can't. Maybe I've just never been in a situation.
But you believe in spirits and things.
Oh yeah.
See, that's where I'm like, that's how I fall, and there's a part of me that's like, because I mean, again, my family has experienced things that are hard to explain. So I'm like, well, how would I explain that? Now you went to the Stanley, didn't you? The Stanley Hotel?
Yeah, I actually thought about that.
Did you see a dead, naked woman in a bathtub that started kissing you?
I couldn't remember. I know.
You can't remember if you did.
What's the movie that's based off of
The Shining.
The Shining, yes. I could not think of that.
Did you walk into a room and see a gorgeous naked woman in a bathtub that got up and started making out with you and then turned into a rotting corpse?
No.
Okay. No. All right. Well,
there might have been a gorgeous naked woman in my room with me, but
and she did not turn into a corpse.
No.
Okay. Well, you're good there.
Hopefully she'll be in my bed when I get home tonight.
Not as a corpse.
No, not as a corpse. Like, let's be clear. Like, I don't. If my wife is dead when I get home, this is.
Bobby will be totally surprised.
That would be a hell of a twist. And almost certainly she won't be naked, unfortunately.
Oh man,
not when I first get there, anyway. But
we'll give it a little time.
Time will tell. But so I knew the movie, the Shining, was based off of, but I didn't know hell, I should know because I was there. But when we were there, we did not stay in the actual like old hotel.
Okay,
it was a terrible, because I planned that whole trip. My wife will never plan a trip, and not one like that. And I swear I had reservations, and we get there and I didn't have reservations.
Oh man!
I was like, holy shit.
For the old hotel?
Well, for their period, they're like,
I got you.
I'm like, well, I swore, because we stayed like 3 or 4 different places on that trip. We were driving all over the West.
Yeah.
But luckily, they're like, well, we can get you in one of these. And so we were staying in like a very modern, new part of the property.
Yeah.
We weren't. And like, I remember they had like, they may have even called them ghost tours or whatever of the old hotel. But
yeah.
I mean, I had my 2 little kids with me, and we were doing all sorts of other stuff, and we didn't do that. And so
you didn't need to
I was disappointed that we didn't get to stay in the actual Stanley.
Yeah.
Like, we were on the Stanley property, but
yeah. So you didn't see any little girls standing at the end of the hallway?
No.
Blood flowing through the halls?
Saw nothing like that. It actually, if you want to talk about like weird stuff, like it did come like a massive hailstorm.
Really?
I think we stayed there 2 nights.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in a part of the country they don't get a whole lot of rain, period. But like, it hailed like a storm. But we got up the next day and went hiking.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the whole thing. I know they filmed The Shining there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of weird stuff happened when they were filming. Kind of like The Exorcist. You know, a lot of the people that were in The Exorcist, they died, like the movie, and like weird stuff happened to them.
So, and you're definitely more just the film guy, period, but definitely more the horror film guy.
Yeah. Well, I don't even like The Exorcist.
I can't swear that I've seen it.
You're really not missing out. It's not a great movie.
And I don't know that I've ever watched The Shining all the way through. Like, I know,
I like it.
all the famous scenes and stuff. You know.
Yeah, you got to know. Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's pretty good. I never watched any of the newer ones. I've read the book on The Shining because I like Stephen King. I did watch Salem's Lot. His new, they redid it again. I'm trying to think of any other. What would you rate the best like horror movie that you've seen? I know you're not a big horror movie guy.
Man, I can't even like do any of the Ernest ones count?
We watch Ernest Scared Stupid usually every Halloween.
And I can't even remember how those go.
It's a bunch of trolls, I know, because we didn't watch it this year.
Is that the one where like milk kills them?
Yes.
See,
yeah, you remember. There you go. Yeah, I think they put it in like water guns, don't they?
Yeah, they're like using like powdered milk. They like somebody dumps it like in a fan.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because it's like the mother's love. Like,
that's it.
Like
Man, look at that. You remember more than you thought.
So I mean, that's obviously a very goofy one. I don't know. Like I've seen Pet Cemetery.
See, and I think about it when we're reading some of these, and it talks about the burial sites, because that's basically Pet Cemetery.
Well, that one came into mind a few times. You know, I'm familiar with Nightmare on Elm Street and some of that stuff. And Friday
what about
the 13th.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Have you seen that one?
Yes.
That is my dad's. For some reason, he
just loves the gore.
He does. Like if you mention, because I get my weird horror like love from my dad. Like he's into those movies, and like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you mention horror movies to him, I would bet you $1,000 on the spot that he is going to be like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's going to talk about it.
A weird one that was kind of popular, and like a couple of the buddies I went to vet school with were kind of into them, was oh shit, I can't even think of the name of them. They got to like
don't say Saw. I hate those. Yeah,
those which like I kind of like the plot of those were
initially.
Like where he was, and I don't even know that I saw that many of them. No pun intended. But where like he was trying to like teach people a lesson.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that's you know, there's like a sliver of wholesomeness to that.
Yeah, the first two were like okay, but I don't enjoy the gore aspect. I just like the scare.
Yeah.
And Saw got to the point it'd be like this guy wakes up and there's gonna be a machine on his head that's gonna rip his eyelids off and gouge hammers into his eye sockets, and like it's just like
I can tell you I wasn't that into them because I don't even know that I saw more than like they would always want to watch them. I was like, all right, I'll.
The first one was pretty good because the dude has to literally like saw his own leg off, and like and it just makes you mentally be like, man, what would I do in this situation? But yeah, those just get grotesque.
A lot of the horror movies, it seems like they're extremely low budget.
They are,
and it's just like. And which I guess there's a potential high reward there because they don't spend hardly any money making these things.
So you know more about movies than you think because horror is literally the cheapest to make and it offers the biggest return.
Yeah, it's maybe that's
Halloween is like one of the biggest examples. That movie they made that movie for like I think they made that movie for like $200,000, $300,000. They had such low budget that there's barely any blood in that whole movie. Like, I think when he kills his sister at the beginning is the only blood maybe in the entire movie. Like, most of the time when he kills somebody...
They couldn't even buy the fake blood?
No. I mean, they did not have the budget for it, and it made millions. Like, it had, like, an astronomical return. And, and that's why they've made, like, 15 of them. Yeah. But, horror is very cheap to make and offers offer a really big return.
So, I don't know. I don't know. I've never been that into it. I've seen Scream, and stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I actually got a lot more. What's the spoof of Scream?
Scary Movie.
Scary
I love
Movie.
those. They're
Yeah,
making a new one.
Yeah, like I actually probably watched those more than I watched the actual.
Yeah, those are good. I like those. Yeah.
I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Yep.
Which, I mean, does that even count as a scary movie, I guess?
I guess it does, which I'll tell you, I actually like Freddie Prinze Jr. Like, he's actually like a big, huge conservative. Do you know that?
No.
He's a big, because he's got a podcast and he's a wrestling junkie, which as we're finishing here, I got to throw a complaint.
We didn't talk a whole lot of politics, and we hadn't had a cocaine reference.
Oh, man, we didn't have a cocaine reference. Well, there is what's Cocaine Bear? Have you seen that movie?
No. Is that a horror movie?
It's actually based in Tennessee. It's a true story about a bear that ate a bunch of cocaine and went on a killing spree.
I must say, these days it would be meth, but
yeah, but it was in Tennessee. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there you go. There's some cocaine. Don't like if I start dealing cocaine, I'm going to be sure to keep it away from bears because it went on a manslaughter, like killing all these people because it was.
So I guess
just
it was
coked.
Tennessee. It was just a black bear.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Why's it got to be black, huh?
Man, we're talking politics. We got
to pull the race card here.
We're conservatives, so we're naturally just racist.
Of course. That's what they would say. Kamala would say that for sure.
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin he's a liberal. Stone Cold is a liberal.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. He blasted Joe Rogan for having Trump on his show, and
I cannot believe that.
Yep. It crushes me to, and I've been suspicious because Stone Cold was a huge gay rights guy, like a really big gay rights guy, but he hunts and he likes guns and
like his fan base has got to be
90% conservative.
Dude, no.
You think it's more?
It's like 99.999%. Like,
he's a liberal. I'm telling you.
Everything he jumps on a four-wheeler, he's wearing camo, he's shotgunning beers, like his whole character is a redneck.
It is. He's an iconic,
he's the biggest
right winger, but he's a liberal. He's a liberal,
which I know, like his brand is kind of come and gone. Even though I think he's kind of,
but he's got the Broken Skull Ranch thing.
Like, that's one of those where, like, even if I was a big liberal, which I guess maybe you respect that he's that true to his beliefs. But like, I would keep it under wraps because that has got to be so bad for his.
You would think so, but
he's got the what's the beer he sells?
Is it Broken Skull beer?
I don't know, because I was like, even because I was showing my son some old videos, like I want to see if I can buy some of his beer. I'm glad I couldn't buy it now.
Yeah, now you'd be supporting Kamala.
Yeah,
I know that sucks, man. Because like, see again, I've always
which that goes to show, like, don't put your faith in celebrities and
yep.
Even Freddie Prinze Jr.
My childhood hero just endorsed Kamala Harris.
Arnold.
And but Arnold hates Donald Trump for some reason. I don't know why. Like, he's been against Trump
during the whole
every
COVID
election.
thing, he said, like, F your freedoms.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Arnold has.
What do you expect?
And it's like, dude, you moved here. Like, I've read Arnold's biography, and like Arnold was literally my childhood hero because he was a beast, man. Arnold was a guy who was like, he envisioned himself being like the greatest champion in bodybuilding while he was in Austria. And he did that. And then he envisioned himself being a freaking huge movie star. And he did that. And then he envisioned himself in politics and he did that. So like, he's done all these things, which when he started in politics, hell, he was a Republican. And so I was like, nice. And I mean, he literally has a tank. Like, he has an actual tank. And, like, I'm like, man, Arnold, he was the man. And yeah, then he comes out and yes, well, screw your freedoms or whatever. And it's like, dude, you moved here because you've talked about how awesome our freedoms are in the United States. So yeah, Arnold has been such a disappointment. Like,
he probably went to a Diddy party, and so they got dirt on him, so he had to come out.
He probably.
I wonder if Stone Cold went to a Diddy party.
I don't know. Could you imagine? I mean, could you imagine Stone Cold with like a Diddy party, man?
Diddy coming up behind him and trying to slip one in him.
Yeah.
Like, what the?
Yeah. And that's the bottom line. Yeah. And like, LeBron apparently went.
I mean, that wouldn't
But
surprise me.
LeBron is a bitch. I'll tell you, I've been saying that forever. LeBron is a bitch. LeBron James. I can't stand LeBron. LeBron, he's a big baby, crybaby bitch is what LeBron James is. So, yeah, he would enjoy a Diddy party. But, yes, now, Stone Cold, he's a liberal. Hate to say it. Hate to break that to you guys that didn't know, because Stone Cold, I used to have a life-size poster of Stone Cold in my little clubhouse out there, and one of the pictures of him too that I had, he's shooting both birds out, because my mom was always like, she would just like shake her head at that one. So
but to get things back on track, you'll need to go to agzaga.com.
Hey, and you gotta
we're gonna get to him.
Okay, gotcha.
He's still the president. We hadn't forgot about him. No, y'all go check out agzaga.com. Y'all know the discount code.
Yep.
Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. Doesn't matter what you pick out. I was talking this week. I need to go buy one of their hay knives. Because when I'm unwrapping my hay, I like unwrap it. I'm like, damn it, I just need to go on there and buy one.
Just cut them.
But all the good stuff, the Flexilla hoses, all the net wrap, the toys. Again, a lot of y'all,
it's that time of
year,
year.
roughly mine and Logan's age. You got little ones around, or maybe you got grandkids around, or nieces and nephews. They're gonna have all kinds of deals coming up on the toy bundles, the tractors, the cattle, whatever. Hey, we need more young people in agriculture. Buy them those things now. Plant that seed early.
That's right.
Yep, y'all check them out. So yeah, you thought I forgot about?
I did. I was like, man, how did you forget about Joe? He's such a prominent figure.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it really doesn't matter who wins this election. I mean, he was still,
the greatest president, most popular president of all time.
Let's say, that might change with this next election, but as of right now, he is still the most popular president of all time.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
You're on duty tonight.
Made in America. Oh, I'm up. Well, let me go to my list.
I did my stop box last week.
You did do stop box. I looked them up too. So
they got a buy one get one deal going right now.
I probably should do that.
You should, and you may. I haven't looked, but they probably are even throwing in the little universal mag carrier.
Well, I'm not going to share how I keep my in-home set up, because we put something out there on the internet and anybody in the world can hear it. And
that's right.
I don't know.
Bobby Lee keeps his one in the chamber just laying out on his nightstand. Tells his kids, don't you touch that gun.
You're damn right. If you're thinking about breaking my house, that's exactly how I leave it. I won't say where I leave everything, but I don't know. I'm a big believer in it. You got one in the chamber. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
You're either ready to roll or you ain't.
Yeah, I don't want to have to think about, in the moment of adrenaline, the last thing I want to have to do is rack the slide.
Well, and I know, we'll get to our company here in a second. But like tonight I was down at the barn, and I don't know why I was like, but it was dark, and I've got a red dot on, when I carry most of the time. I was like, I was down there all by myself, and I was like, and I always like to pick out a target, 30, 40 yards away, and just draw it and point and see how close I am. Because, I don't know. You got way off the rails there, but
no, dude, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I'll tell you right now, one of my biggest pet peeves, and I've harped on this so many times, is people that carry and never practice drawing.
Yeah,
because that is the dumbest thing in the world to me.
Well, and I don't practice shooting near enough. Like I told you, I came by and saw Brock yesterday, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm kind of caught up, and I was like, man, what up? I got a couple hours. I was like, I ought to shoot, and I didn't.
Yeah.
But
well, it's hard because you hate to burn the ammo. Like I've got a stockpile.
No, I'm not going to say how much ammo I got, but yeah. I mean, it's like, all right, I got to get everything out, then I got to shoot, then I got to clean everything up. I'm like, oh shit, before you know it. But anyway, I like to do that and just draw and point. And I'm like, oh shit, I need to do better with that, because they say the average shooting is within 7 feet. Yeah. Which at that close, you
ain't got to be just super precise.
You're just pointing it in the general direction, and you're.
Oh hell, man! I'll brag on. Well, I won't say his name because he's a quiet professional. He'll know what I'm talking about. But my buddy, he's still a SEAL, and we shot out here. It's been 2 months ago, and he was kind of, I told him, I was like, now show me anything. I was like, man, I'm no professional. I said, I'm just a guy that likes to shoot. And I was like, any tips you got? I mean, I was like, you're an operator. You've done this. And like, you show me. And, dude, I'll tell you, like, one of the things he was showing me, they actually will draw. Now, he had an outside holster on his hip because, I mean, when you're in war, you ain't concealed carrying. But he would draw, and he's using a SIG P320 or 226. Which one has the long pull first and then the short pull the remaining?
Oh man, you're outside of my area.
It's a 226. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 320 is the one they always joke about.
Shooting your dick off. Yeah. That's the one I give my buddy Bo, all this shit about because he's got like a Legion 320, and I'm like, that's a sweet gun to shoot your dick off with. But the 226, I'm pretty sure. It's got a long pull on the first break, and then it's a short action after that. Like, what are they? Should always get them mixed up with single or double action.
Purpose.
Yep. But as they draw it, he was telling me, like, when they draw out of the holster, as they're coming up to the point, they actually start firing. Like, if it's in close quarters, they'll draw it and fire from the hip as they're kind of bringing the gun to. And you just feel like a gunslinger, like a real gunslinging bad dude when you do that. Yeah. But I could not get that. I was shooting a pig.
Like that first round or two is just a bonus one.
Yeah, it's that's going to be in that close range. Like, you don't know. I mean, you're going to shoot them center, like in their stomach or, in this area, like their center torso.
But it's better to go ahead and get that one or two off before you're really up and on target.
Yeah. And that's how he was just kind of showing me on there. And I mean, I love shooting, but I could not, that gun, I couldn't quite figure it out because it's odd to me. Like, I'd have to put some reps on because I'm just used to gun. I mean, I was shooting a SIG 365 and then I had a Glock 48X. And both of those, it's the striker fire, same trigger pull every time, so it's consistent. It just was odd to me, like pulling a trigger that's really long, and then I actually like double tapped like really fast when I tried to shoot it because I was like expecting a long pull that second one. So yeah, we got way off subject, but guys, go shoot, and if you conceal carry, practice drawing and shooting. If you don't even have a range, actually dry fire training is really great. Like, you're not going to hurt the gun. I think some people think that dry firing is bad for the gun. For the love of God, take a magazine out and make sure it's empty. Like, don't shoot a hole in your house. Like,
that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, yeah, be sure you got it good and clear before you start dry firing.
Yes, and you'll want to mag out of it. You don't want to mag anyways, because then when you shoot, and you have to rack the slide because you'll have to re-rack it. You don't want to have to, slide. It'll slide lock every time if you got an empty magazine in it. So, take the mag out and you can shoot and rack it and shoot and rack it. But dry firing is nice because just when you pull it up, you can see yourself if you pull the gun left or right or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, draw and shoot for sure. So. Who you got?
Yeah. So
all that to say has nothing to do with guns.
Nothing to do with this company, really. Although it is a product I used while I was hunting. But a company I was kind of a little surprised we hadn't highlighted before, but Danner Boots.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, not every one of their products is made in USA like some of these companies, but actually the boot that I elk hunted in last month, I guess technically it's still October, which I killed my elk September 30th. But I actually, not to be too corny, but I hunted
elk hunter
in the elk hunter boot.
By God, it worked.
As their description says, is 100% USA made.
Nice.
So yeah, check out Danner. They're in Portland, Oregon, which it's debatable if that's really the USA.
Is that America?
Yeah. Is that the USA? For right now, it is still considered USA.
I feel bad for companies like that.
Because that's a company that's like, again, mostly appealing to
conservative hunters,
blue collar. Yeah.
It's like the gun companies. I actually really enjoy like Smith and Wesson. They moved to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like some of these companies, like I love it. I wish that more companies would do that. Like, and I realize that's tough. Like I'm not like, and a lot of them will pay for their people to relocate. I understand like the difficulty of that because like I ain't moving nowhere. Like, so it's easy for me to say, but I love the thought of these big companies that are like gun companies, like that are in California or something. I wish they'd just move out, like just kill their economy.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be stupid and like blast some of your biggest part of your economy, do it. And then just let them move out and let your economy tank.
Yeah. But, yeah, specifically the Elk Hunter by Danner. And then they have other models that are made in USA.
Do they have a deer hunter?
I don't know if they do. I'm not familiar with that one, but, yeah, I actually, because there's all kinds of like, and we were, hunting high country, potentially walking a lot, and I was looking at all kinds of different boots, and those, compared to a lot of these custom boot stuff you can buy, aren't outrageously expensive. I mean,
what is a pair of Danners?
So that pair on their website right now lists for $360.
Yeah, I mean for a good pair of boots, that's not that, and especially when you go like you want a pair of boots that's going to hold up in something like
and
that.
For a hunt like that, and which I think they like any of these companies, you're signing up for the emails, you get they're running a 30% off sale or something. I think was actually what got me to pull the trigger on them. But like you look at some of these companies, I mean, you can spend $700-800 on a pair of boots, and and you're going on a hunt like that, which if you're like me and you kill one 20 minutes in on the first day, you're like, hell, I could have been wearing a pair of damn Nikes and been okay. But your feet are
vital,
pretty damn important on a hunt like that. So, but yeah, that's a made in USA product, Danner, the Elk Hunter specifically.
There you go.
I know boot companies, we that's probably like the 40th one we've highlighted, but
hey, that's good though. That's good. Diversity, competition makes you better.
Yep.
So guys, y'all know what to do. Hey, comment to us on YouTube or submit. Like, I want to hear if you got some crazy horror story.
If you specifically know any, like you're right in one of the areas of one of these stories we hit on this week, we would love to hear about that.
Please, yes, that would be awesome.
I may want to have you on as a guest.
Yeah. And write in, let us know that. Go to talkdirtpodcast.com contact page. Write in on there, or preferably write in there because I don't check hardly much else. It's just easier to keep up with. And then comment to us on YouTube and let us know what your horror movie of choice is. And we will catch you next week. You don't know what we'll have next week. We actually still got a ton of listener questions.
Yeah, we will get to them. We working on some guests and whatnot, but you never know what you're gonna get.
We're like a box of chocolates.
That's right. And like we said earlier, if you wear a large or an extra large, just check the website. We do have a few more of the shirts left.
Okay.
Sorry for our if you're double X and up, or if you're medium and smaller, sorry. Either go on a diet or hit the weight room.
So you got two choices.
Or wait till we get some more shirts. But large and extra large, still got a few. Y'all check them out. I guess we'll see y'all in a week. We'll find out. Well, we probably won't. My prediction is we won't know who our next president's going to be by the time we record next week.
It wouldn't surprise me, which will just piss me off. So
I'm betting it's a situation where it's like
they'll be like 2 weeks from now we'll finish counting.
We don't know. We got some hanging chads here in Florida. You know? I'm old enough to remember that. A lot of our audience probably isn't. You probably aren't old enough to remember that, are you?
I don't know that I've heard of a hanging chad.
Oh, dude, that was.
I thought you were talking about like a hanging wiener or something.
Oh, in 2000, that was the deal with Bush and Gore. In Florida, like you used to like punch the card.
Oh yeah.
And like the hanging chads, like on the back of the card was like Florida was so close and like decided that election. I remember it may have been like weeks before we knew who won that election officially.
Okay, I think I do remember that because I would have been.
You'd have been like 8.
I was gonna say I was like 8 to. Yeah.
You're like 8 or 9 years old.
Was that in two?
That'd have been the 2000.
Yeah, it would have been 2000. Yeah, I would have been. I would have been 8 or 9. Yeah.
I was like, that'd have been my senior year of high school.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens, dudes. I mean, I did my part. I did not.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, you hadn't voted yet, get your ass to the polls on Tuesday.
Please. Yes. If you're in a state and you think like your state's either hardcore red or hardcore blue, still go vote, man.
Well, it's like Baker said, if you don't vote, that's you leaving your vote out there for them to potentially steal.
Yeah.
by some shenanigans. So get out there, vote the way you want to vote. Then you ain't got to worry about it.
Yep. All right, guys. We will catch you next week.